are off. I'm flying through the hallway like a disco moth. Hitching to the couch, then I loop through the fan. My tiny whoop's grooving like a funky jam. I dip through the doorway, spin by the cat, bounce off the toaster, yeah, I meant to do that. Neighbors knocking, saying, what's that sound? It's my brush motor soul train getting down. Flying through the curtain, dancing on breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic, bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop it all. I got LED strobes and a shag rug trail. I'm looping through the lava lamp, leaving a tail. My whoop's got rhythm, my stick's got soul. I'm the pilot of the party. On a roll, TV remotes a gate, the lamps are dive. I'm flying like it's 75. No GPS, no rules, no shame. Just a funky little quad in a soul train frame. We fly that flow, thread that gap. No time to nap, no time to nap. Hit that roll, funk and control, bounce that wall, we fly it all, we fly it all. Tiny whoop love, funky and free. We fly indoors, we fly with glee. Whoop it, loop it, groove it, move it, bounce it, flip it, funk it, rip it, fly that soul, don't lose control. Tiny whoop love gonna make you whole. I thread the needle through the vinyl stacks, bounce off the mirror ball, never looking back. My crowd.
What's up? What's up, people? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to the show. It is Full Build Friday. We are going to build an open prop, small motor, 1S Bing Bong. This is the Sub250gFPV Baby Turtle V7. I believe this is the lightest one. This is the one set up for 2-inch props. And yeah, there's the Bando Turtle, there's the Baby Turtle HD, there's the Baby Turtle Pro, and then there's the V7. And I'm pretty sure that the V7 is the lightest one. I got it in T7000 carbon, which is the lightest kind of setup. I got the Baby Turtle Pro here in the purple carbon fiber, which is a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier. We're going to dive into this one in the future. VW Sampa, thank you for the subscription, friend. So yeah, we're going to start with this. This is the lightest weight. We're going to be 1S. We're going to see how this goes. I have done similar builds to this in the past, but things have moved. The motors are better now. Betaflight is better. And so, yeah, we're going to give this a shot. I took apart one of my 1S 75mm whoops in order to transplant into this. And so, yeah, this should be cool. We're going X12, 1S for right now. I think I'm going to switch this lead out to a BT 2.0 lead that just has a connector going straight. So that's the only soldering we're going to do. And then I pulled the 1102 22,000s off of what you were just watching, which was the last flight of the BetaFPV Meteor75 Pro O4. Let me pull those two files and put them in here. Just like every time I do one of these 75 Pro builds, these HQ ultralight 45mm by 2 and by 3 propellers are great right up until the point they explode at the hub. And that's what you just saw. That was the second prop exploding at the hub. And then one of, in like the short couple of batteries that I've had it. And then when I was taking the propellers off, one of them was about to explode at the hub. I can see the cracks kind of propagating through the hub area on one of these. And it's really easy to tell because they'll come off the motor real easy. And so, yeah, I can't risk an O4 light air unit on a setup that's going to have propellers that are blowing up like that. You know, this thing getting hung up in a tree or on somebody's roof or something like that, or over water. That's, you know, that doesn't work for me. I can't risk like $300 worth. No, I guess it's like $250 or so. But yeah, I'm not going to send an O4 light to the bottom of the ocean because of a propeller exploding. That seems completely insane to me. So I have pulled it apart here. Let me just eject it here. And that flight footage at the intro there was with Rocksteady On, and it worked really, really well. So we know for certain that the BetaFPV canopy here with the soft mounting setup, it absolutely works. And I've actually been pretty surprised. There hasn't been any jello. I think that once you crash this thing and start working it in, you will start to get jello. That's what most people's experiences have been that I've talked to with this, that have flown this. But yeah, big thanks to BetaFPV for sending the base of this over, and then I put my O4 light into it. We did that full live stream, I guess it was a week ago, building this, changing a couple of things from the way that their build guide shows. And so hopefully, yeah, if you get this, you kind of follow my build guide. If you get this, though, I got to be honest, think about switching the frame over to a regular 75mm frame that takes 1.6-inch props, so that you can run the GemFan 1610 propellers. Something with this much weight, right? As soon as you start to carry around an HD VTX, you're adding like 7 or 8 grams of weight. The HQ ultralight props are just not strong enough. They blow up at the hub when you crash with that much energy. And so, you know, we're kind of forced to move towards prop sizes where we have an option that's good, that's well balanced and strong. And in the bigger propellers, that means going either up to 2-inch, which you're probably not going to want to do on 1S, or going down to 1.6-inch, which is a great option. So if I were to keep this thing together, that's what I would do. I would take this Meteor75 Pro frame off of it. I would put that'd be a great chance to try out the Air75 frame, and hell, maybe I will. Maybe I will. So this AIO and VTX and camera are actually going to end up in here in the Baby Turtle Pro. But maybe I'll throw it into the Air75 V2 frame first with the... I don't know what motors I'll do. I could do the Treetoppers, but they're probably going to be a little too small. That kind of makes me want to do the GetBar. Yeah, I'll do the GetBar C1002 25,000s. So I'll pull the 1S 75mm Whoop that I left together. Has the GetBar C1002 25,000s on it. I flew both that one and the one on the Treetoppers. And I did like the extra weight and the extra power of the bigger motors. The GetBarC 1002 25,000s are just awesome. There's nothing wrong with the Treetoppers, and if you want a setup like that that's lighter weight, those are definitely the way to go. But for me, I prefer the GetBarC motors. You get a little bit more power, you get the exact same runtime, and you get some extra weight, which gives you that little bit of extra throw. They make so much extra power that you don't notice the weight when you're on the throttle. You only notice the weight when you come off the throttle, and you just have that like extra momentum, which is really cool. If you were going to build a 1S 75mm rig to do inside stuff and outside stuff, you would definitely want to be on the Treetoppers, hands down. The GetBarC motors make it a little too powerful and a little too heavy to be able to fly like accurately inside. But for me, it's 65 mil, 1.2 inch prop rigs for flying around inside, not these 75s. Even with the Treetoppers, it's too much power, it's too much weight for inside. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I think the first step, because I've got the canopy, I've got everything all set up here, I think the first conversion for this thing is going to be to drop it down to a smaller frame. I might as well use I'm going to get it out right now so I don't forget. I might as well use the Air75 II frame. Although, that would probably... I've heard that this frame is a little on the fragile side, and then so putting it in with an 8-gram digital VTX setup with it is probably not the best idea. So what I'm actually gonna do is I am going to put it on a Mobula 7 V4 frame. So basically what I'm gonna do here is, and I'm gonna start doing this right now, as a matter of fact, I'm going to bolt these Treetoppers down to this Air75 V2 frame. And then the 1S 75mm rig here, I'm going to take the camera canopy AIO out of this and transplant it into this Air75 V2 frame. That'll save it a little bit of weight. And we'll have an analog build in here, so it'll have a chance of not exploding. We'll put the Treetoppers on it. They'll be nice and lightweight. And so this rig here will lose a bunch of weight. That's cool. I'm actually pretty excited for that. So these Treetopper motors go with this, and then we will take this camera canopy AIO VTX out of this frame, and we'll put it into this frame with these motors. And this way I don't have to pull the motor screws here. I can leave them screwed in. I try my best to not take stuff apart when I don't... If there's a way of not taking something apart, don't take it apart, because this stuff all wears. This is a lesson I learned back in airsoft days. I used to take like my own stuff. I would do a lot of testing on it, go figure. And so I would take it apart, change something, take it apart, change something, take it apart, change something, take it apart, change something. And before I knew it, everything would be stripped out. And it's, I wasn't like over tightening stuff. I was just unscrewing and rescrewing over and over and over again. And when you're dealing with tiny, tiny, tiny little screws, which is what the airsoft was built with, there's just not, you can't cycle it like that many times before it just lets go, right? Every single time you screw in or out, you take a tiny little bit of material, and you just keep taking that material off over and over and over again, and eventually you're going to run out. So yeah, I won't have to unscrew these motors. I can leave these motors in here and just swap that frame over. That'll save like one little cycle of things. So cool. That'll probably be Sunday's stream. We'll either do the work on Sunday's stream, or we'll at the very least talk about it. But that'll be a blast. There's this hardware in this Meteor 75 Pro frame looks like it's a little bit longer. So the motor screws are M1.4, and I think they're usually M1.4 by 3. But in this Meteor 75 Pro frame, they look like they're a little bit longer. Let me myth bust this real quick. So here's the regular hardware that they use. And what tipped me off is that normally the motor screws that BetaFPV uses are silver. And yeah, sure enough, in the Meteor, I didn't know that. In the Meteor75 Pro frame, they're using one length longer motor screws. I did not realize that. Okay, good to know. So that means I need to grab... I literally just put a full set of silver motor screws away last night when I was cleaning up around here a little bit, and now I got to get them right back out. So let me get going on that. In the chat, sorry for the late start, by the way. Sporty FPV was first, FizzPV was next, McShaky73FPV, Fizz, Frank Nicholas, Mupshot, Sporny again, Uriel, Skull901, Casper Skull's Adventures. An incredibly specific YouTube name. Bob Noxious, Mupshot, Jeremy, Chuck P. I haven't seen you in a while. Chuck, how you been, man? Brandon's Baked Beans, Uplift, Life Behind Bars, Johnny V. What up, friends? If you want to talk directly to me, type CiottiFPV into your chat message. It'll light up in orange for me if you do that. If you want to see what that looks like, just type your own name. But you got to put an @ in front of it. You can do that with each other. If there's somebody in chat whose attention you want to get, type @ and their name, and for that person, their own name will light up in orange. And they'll be ultra excited, because they probably won't have seen it before. Okay, so I've got a bunch of BetaFPV silver motor screws out here. Now you get to see me be completely insane and sort these out because they are slightly different. I gotta be honest, these readers are not, they're not terrible. And the little LEDs on them, like, they don't work great, but they don't not work either. So yeah, I'm embracing this nonsense right here. Anything that lets me do slightly better quality work on these tiny ass little builds. It looks like these screws are all this. Nope, there's the weird different one. There's the weird different one. It's the sizes of the heads. Ah! Ah! I'm new to glasses. Leave me alone. I can't believe I have to wear glasses now, man. This is baby back bullshit right here. That's what this is. All right, there's one of the weird different ones. Come on. There's a normal. And here's a normal. I think I have 12 here. Let me count. Ready? 1, 2, 3 slaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Cool. Anybody recognize 1, 2, 3 slaps? I'll be somewhat impressed if you recognize that. That's old school. That's old school right there. All right, so yeah, this Meteor75 Pro frame, I'm going to pull these screws out of. I mean, if you're only going to fly out in front and behind your house, there ain't a damn thing wrong with one of these Meteor75 Pro frames, and I'm actually constantly impressed with how good they fly. It's a significantly heavier and more durable frame, but so, like, you're never going to break the frame, you're just going to break a bunch of propellers. So, like, if you don't crash really hard, you'll be fine. Or if you're flying somewhere recoverable, like front yard, backyard, you'll be totally fine with this 75 Pro frame. Every single time that I fly one of these Meteor 75 Pros, I'm just blown away by how good they fly. And for a minute, I'm like, here I go again, you know, coming to the wrong conclusion, and now I retest it. And it's good. And then I fly like 10 more batteries and break like 5 more props. And I just go, I remember now. So yeah, if you crash hard and all the time, I can't really recommend it. But if you don't, if you fly like a normal person instead of someone who's, you know, attempting to break things. Not that I do that. Like, I'm never specifically attempting to break things. I just fly hard. And, like, especially with tiny whoops, they bounce off of stuff. And it's, like, one of the really fun things about flying tiny whoops is that you can crash all the time. And when you can crash all the time, A, you fly harder, and you have, and I personally have more fun. But B, you don't take the walk of shame a lot, right? Because it bounces off of stuff, you typically fly entire batteries without taking the walk of shame, which for me is like awesome. I love that. I love being able to fly a whole battery without having to walk across the yard once or twice or 3 times. It helps me to be able to actually like get a bunch of stick time in a short period of time, right? The whole hashtag 6 batteries thing is mainly surrounding tiny whoops, because 6 tiny whoop batteries you can knock out in like 20-25 minutes. And that's amazing, right? Like, there's no excuse to not do that every day. Like, you've got 20 minutes a day to fly 6 batteries real quick. But I doubt you're going to be able to do that with anything that's not prop guarded, right? Unless, like, you can fly a 5-inch rig in your front yard and backyard. But, I mean, even then, I still don't think you're going to be able to swing it, because it's, you know, it takes longer to change batteries, and you're going to have to bend props back straight, and, like, there's a lot more time involved. My absolute favorite thing about tiny whooping is how much flying you get to do, from how little of a time. It's like you get the most bang for your buck is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? And so do it, my friends. Do it, and do it until it pleases you. Isn't that the lyric? Go on and do it. It should please you. It's the most fun thing ever. You don't have to fly inside, fly outside. But just fly. Fly those 6 batteries. If you haven't done them yet, I'm just over here jibber jabbering. Turn the volume up. Put me in your pocket. Get your 6 batteries in, friends. Tomorrow you will thank yesterday you. FizzPV says, poll the class on which of those 2 woods I should use for the Wandering Whoop shipping box. I don't... Oh, I'm assuming that Fizz maybe sent me a private message. I'm like, I've got general nonsense up, but I don't see anything in there. Hold on. Hold on! Yep, sure enough. Which of these 2 woods... The dark one. I can already tell you the dark one. I don't like these like light, like honey colored woods. I don't love them. I'm a fan of like a nice walnut wood. Yeah, darker. The darker the better. As always. Mupshot says, I have a baby turtle on my bench now. Love it when I flip a... That's all he said. When I flip a... Bob Noxious says, what's up? Uriel says, good vibe. Doby 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 do. Like, oh, doobie 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 doo. Like Sinatra. Then Goothy Toby's Todo. YouTube did the thing. Scrolling back up. Uriel also says, I have a hobby on break barrel guns. It's fun. Yikes. Matthew Wagner says, reader glasses are great. You need a granny strap, though, to hang off your neck. That I won't do. Mupshot says, I started wearing glasses when I turned 40. Sorry getting old is hard on your body. Yeah, man, it's, this is the first, like, major thing to be, like, for me, to just be like, oh, right. No going back now. It's fucking... I mean, like, I have felt the effects of aging for all of my 40s, and even like my mid 30s, I started to just like, you know, like when you go to stand up and you're like, ugh, like, you don't have that in your 20s. Like, and so yeah, I've felt the effects a little bit, but this is my eyesight is the first thing where it's like, yeah, okay, that ain't coming back. You know, like my body feeling like shit. If I had any motivation, I could exercise and help that a lot. But like your eyesight is your eyesight, right? I mean, like there are eye exercises that you can do, but I think that's absolute nonsense. And so yeah, your eyesight getting worse is what it is. There's nothing you can really do. You get glasses, and that's about it, right? So yeah, this has been one of the first things where I'm just like, fuck, beginning of the end. But it'll be all right. We all had a good run, yo. We got to live through incredible times. It's looking awful scary lately, but we had a good run. Just remember that. I feel horrible for all the young people who didn't get to have as good of a run as us, and it looks like they're going to be, you know, having to live through quite the nightmare. But yeah, we had a good run, my friends. Life Behind Bars says, just got done soldering in a new Air 4-in-1 and ELRS to my smoked Air75. What a bitch, lol. Yeah, soldering on Tiny Whoop sucks. I know you guys see me do it all the time, and I probably make it look easy, but it's not. And, like, I even screw it up sometimes and have to rework stuff 2, 3, 4 times. So, yeah, just remember that. Remember that, like, direct soldering to Tiny Whoops is difficult. It has always been difficult. It will always be difficult. If you're able to do it successfully, that's a hell of an accomplishment, right? Like, show anyone that's not into FPV this stuff and be like, and show them the solder joints and be like, yeah, I connected all that together. And rightfully so, they're going to be like, holy shit, you built that? Like, that's what matters. Don't fall into this trap of like, I see everybody around me doing it, so it must be easy. No, none of this is easy. This is all hard. This is all obnoxiously hard. Keep that in mind. That'll keep you from getting pissed. What did I say I was going to do? I'm going to take this and put it in here. No. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in here. And then I'm going to take this frame and these motors and put them onto this. All right. So let me put these aside as a reminder, and we will revisit that on Sunday. Or maybe I'll do that tomorrow, and then have some footage and some opinions for Sunday's stream. I'm going to try doing that. No promises. Maggie is gone for the weekend on a writing retreat. So I'm thus the late stream. I was at the grocery store with Little Boo because we ran out of food, and yeah, just the day kind of got away from me. But tomorrow night I'm going to the Airbnb that Maggie's at on the writing retreat to kind of hang out with them. So I don't know how much time I'll have tomorrow. What I would like to do, though, because the Airbnb that they're at is gorgeous and it's right on a lake, I would like to get these guys swapped over so that I can then fly it there and possibly put one of these into a watery grave. That would just be terrific. So I got that going for me, which is nice. You know what I'm going to do? While I'm sitting here, I am going to swap this over. I'm going to swap this camera and canopy into this frame. And then I've got these 3 450 mAh batteries that I just pulled off the charger. We're going to fly these, and then I'm going to throw 300 mAh batteries onto this charger right now. And then we're going to fly those as well. And we'll do another little 65 versus 75 comparison. Why are all 3 of these batteries that I just put on here fully charged? They've just been sitting in the box fully charged. That's not great. That's not going well. FizzPV says, dark is African mahogany, light is Canadian maple. Yeah, African mahogany for sure. A rich mahogany. Uriel says, start Tai Chi. I've done Tai Chi before. I feel a little silly doing it. I prefer yoga to Tai Chi. License to Drive says, glad you like the RP4 TD drop-down antenna holder. I'm not 100% happy with it, so I've been refining it a bit. Does it hold closed well enough? Worried it might unclip in a crash. So I've been browbeating License to Drive into making some new antenna holders. He has the most awesome antenna holders on his Thingiverse. It's really cool. But he made the majority of them like a year or two ago when the ELRS antennas were different. Nowadays, a really popular ELRS antenna is the Radiomaster one, and his mounts just won't quite fit that antenna. So he has made me a drop-down antenna that is on this print bed here. And I haven't printed it yet because I'm also trying to beat him into making me so this is a drop down. These guys go around the rear standoffs and then it drops down nice and low. I'm trying to beat him into making me a vertical antenna holder as well. So I haven't printed this plate out, which is kind of silly. I should just print this plate because I need more of these propodials, but I was waiting a second. And so, yeah, this is, I put this Cinesplore that I was commissioned to build by a client of mine that I've had forever, Andrew, back in the little box because I need antenna holders for it. I have like a super temporary set of antenna holders on here. And so this will be the last little missing piece, and then I can get this thing up in the air, get it dialed in, and then get it back to Andrew, which will be super cool. I'm excited about that. So yeah, there's that. So I got that going for me, which is nice. Uriel says, good job, Bob. And he also says, combined chi powers are real, boosting up aura. Good. There you go. I didn't realize tonight Uriel has become an anime character, it seems. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, let me switch this thing over. Because this will be interesting to fly. I kind of want to... Ooh! Ooh! Let's get a weight. Let's get a weight difference here. So I'm going to weigh this thing now, and then when I swap it over, I'll weigh it again. So right now, this is a Mobula 7 1S analog setup with the GEP-RC. Never mind. This isn't going to be a good weight comparison, but 26.8 grams with the GEP-RC motors on the Mobula 7 V4 frame. I don't know what what I was excited about just now is I don't know how much lighter the Air75 V2 frame is than the Mobula 7 V4 frame. But yeah, this full build right now with the 1002s is 26.8 grams. It should be a lot lighter when we move it over here. Somebody type 26.8 grams into the chat, please. 26.8. All right, so now let's swap it over and we'll see how much weight we lose. And so let's just push this up and out of here. Yeah, I really, really, really like the way this thing flies with these GEP-RC motors, but these motors kind of deserve... These motors are going to be the best at picking up a digital VTX, picking up a heavier setup. And so it makes a lot of sense to move them into a build that has a digital VTX. I still don't know why you would do, other than just you have a bunch of the batteries, I don't know why you would do a 1S HD build. It's really, you want to be 2S in my opinion. But yeah, if you have a bunch of the batteries, you have a bunch of the batteries. That's a perfectly valid reason. And if we can get something that flies as good as possible, which kind of will be on these GEP motors, like, then yeah, you can build the best possible super quiet 1S HD rig. All right, so this is now earmarked for that O4 build. That'll be pretty slick. I have a feeling that'll be really nice. I have a feeling it'll fly basically the same as it just did on the bigger frame, but I'll be able to use GemFan 1610 propellers that are nice and durable. Uriel says, what's an anime person? 6'7"? Maybe. 6'7". God, this 6'7" thing is just ridiculous. Absolutely outrageous. I'm really tempted to take this smoke crotch gray canopy off and swap it, but I'm not gonna. That's a little crazy to do that because the antenna is E6000 down, and the UFLs do wear every time you take them off and on. So we're just gonna have a mismatched clear frame with smoke crotch canopy setup. That'll only bother me a lot. No. Never mind. We're not gonna do this because the Air75 V2 frame has pulled the ducts in and they hit on the 2G4. I'm sorry, this is not a 2G4, this is an X12. The X12 only fits in the Mobile 7 V4 frame. Let me see what I can do here, though. Let me just push harder on this and see what happens. It's not gonna work. I can already tell. God damn it. Yeah, so to make room for the 12 amp FETs, the X12 AIO is ever so slightly oversized. And so when they made what's interesting is it works in the Mobula 7 V3 frame as well as the V4 frame. Yeah, see, so this ain't gonna work. Oh, this is a shame. I really wanted to check out this Air75 V2 frame. But I mean, it's not that big of a deal. This frame is not that like groundbreaking. It's apparently just a little tiny bit lighter. And like I said earlier, I've heard that it's pretty fragile. So yeah, this ain't happening. All right, well. That's a big old F you. Okay. Well. I'm not going to swap this over to a 2G4 because I've already run into that. I've already run into the 5 amp FET frames not being able to keep up with these really powerful motors. Boy, is that frustrating. All right, it's fine. I was so excited about this. So what I need to do is move. Eventually, someday, we'll use this. Well, do I have a BetaFPV AIO that I can put into this frame? Give me a second. Let me just think about this for a second here. Oh. Of course. I got it. I'm going to end up taking these motors out of here. I'm going to take these motors out of this frame. I'm going to put them into this frame. And then we're going to put the O4 into this, because this O4 build is using the cross style AIO, which will easily clear this frame. And it'll get the weight down as low as possible. That's totally what we're doing. That is absolutely what we're doing. So now I got to take all the motors out. That's not infuriating or anything. Because, yeah, I got to put the 1002s into here. Which feels insane to do, but we're going to do it anyway. Let me start doing this just to remind myself, and then we're going to dive over and get this baby turtle build going. So let me just real quick take one motor out of here, and then I'm going to take, what's that, a clockwise propeller? Yep, clockwise propeller. I'm going to take one motor out of here. This is how I remind myself to do stuff. I just do one. I'll just take one motor and move it, because there's no way that I did 3 and then stopped before the last one. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to take one motor, I'm going to swap it over here, and then that'll be my signal to do the other 3 while I'm watching Pluribus tonight. I forgot to mention to you guys, over on Apple TV, there's a new show that I'm absolutely loving. It's a Vince Gilligan, Vince Gilligan show. He did Breaking Bad. And it's fantastic. It's called Pluribus, and it's really good. Don't watch a trailer, just dive in. You're going to like it. And so, yeah, there's that. Cool. So I swapped one over. There's my signal to put those into that. Here's my signal to put these into this. This is kind of cool because I'm putting these 0802s back into the smoke crotch gray frame, and we got that smoke crotch gray canopy, so this makes me feel better about life. When colors match, life is good. And yeah, anybody else watching Pluribus? What do you think? Don't spoil anything for anyone. Matter of fact, don't say anything. The 4th episode came out tonight, so you can't watch a whole season of it. But they cover a lot of ground in the first 3 well, now 4 episodes. And yeah, it's really cool. Who's building? What are you building? What sort of building is going on tonight from you freaks? And who's excited for me to dive back into open prop rigs and just pull my absolute hair out every single time I crash them? I'm hoping that I can find a 2-inch biblade propeller that is light enough for 1S, but I'm not so sure. I'm not super sure I'm going to be able to find that. We'll give it a shot, though. All right, so the only soldering that we need to do is going to be a battery lead that doesn't have a 180-degree angle on it. And it looks like I've got one right here. Yep. So, perfect. This will work. It looks like that's about to shit the bed, though. Hold on. Let me snip this shrimp wrap off here and just make sure that this wire is healthy below here, because these have been bent. See that bend in here? And I never kind of trust that when it's been bent like that. I always feel like that has a tendency to break. I don't feel this way. It does have a tendency to break the inner strands of wire here. So let's just investigate real quick. If you're careful, you can use flush cutters like this as pliers as well. They don't work great, but there we go. Almost there. Just being super careful to not make the situation even worse. All right, and so now I am going to use actual needle nose pliers to see if I can just And to whop this off here. It's not wanting to come off without a fight. It's okay, I'm down to fight. I gotta figure out a show to watch with Florence tonight. I told her we would hang out after the stream. I think we might dive back into Alice in Borderland. We've watched the first, I want to say 4 episodes of that. It's pretty good. Something she wanted to watch. But I was cool with it. She has interesting taste. She's into a lot of anime stuff, which I've never really been into. She loves JoJo's Bing Bong Adventure. That's not the actual name of it. That's just what I call it. What's it really called? JoJo's Bizarro Adventure, I think. But we also watched Blue-Eyed Samurai, which was really, really cool, actually. All right, so let me just take a look at these inner strands of wire here to make sure they're not like half broken. There are definitely some broken ones, but this is not a normal 30 gauge. Well, this is not a 30 gauge wire. This is like a 22 gauge or so wire. This actually looks all right. This is going to be fine. Yeah. There are plenty of... I spoke too soon. I'm going to just put a big blob of solder on this thing because it looks like about half the strands of wire are broken. And so if I just go blobby light on this, it'll bring back any amount of flip-flop that this Bing Bong has lost. You know what I mean? That makes sense, right? I ask a lot of you guys. I apologize. All right, so we're going to hold it there. Hopefully it won't shift when I hit it with the soldering iron. But if it does, that's okay. And I'm going to get my 3.5x magnification nerd goggles on here so I can see what on earth I'm doing. And this is going to be all about flux. I need to make sure I get a big old blob of flux on here. So we're going to put it right there on top. And so all I'm doing here is adding a blob of solder to the area here in between the brass pin of the connector and the wire. And now, if you're soldering on BT 2.0, I mean, to be honest, this goes for soldering on any connectors. You want to plug a connector in on the other side to keep the pins from moving around. And so make sure that you always have a connector floating around for the opposite side, right? So in this case, that's going to be like a male BT 2.0. So we're just going to throw this in here to make sure that when I dump all this heat in here, these pins don't go drifting around. That's actually really, really important. So we're good to go. I'm going to bring the soldering iron up from the bottom to introduce the heat. That flux will melt down, and then I'll push a little bit of solder in from up top. Ready? I'm going to tin the tip of the soldering iron just a little bit here. And here we go. There goes the flux. Beautiful. All right. The wire did shift to the side a little bit. I'm going to rework this just for a split second and try to pull the wire back in towards the pin. So just super quick. Bring in the heat. Pull it back in. Ah, shit. There we go. Sweet. All right. No big deal. We are now going to have to solder this up to the AIO, but that'll be quick and easy. So let's take a look here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good to go. And now this is boiling hot. Let me see if I can just separate this, though. Yeah. Cool. Pin stayed dead center. Let me get a tiny little piece of shrimp wrap, throw it on here, and we will be golden. Alright. I should have a little scrap bit floating around. Yeah, there we go. Alright, here's a little trick with shrink wrap. If it's not quite wide enough, you can actually stretch it out. So cut off your little bit of shrink wrap here that you need. Try to figure out where the hell it flew off to. And now you're going to take your little needle nose pliers here, put it into the shrink wrap, and then separate like this to stretch the shrink wrap opened. Shrink wrap is typically a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 ratio, as in it will halve in size or become a third of its size when it shrinks up. If you do this and stretch it out, you can easily like double that. So if you've ever got a situation where there's like a really skinny wire, but then there's like a big plug or the head of an antenna, for example, and you want to try to have shrink wrap bridge that gap between something much bigger and something much smaller, this is the move right here. You just got to be really gentle when you're doing this. It's super easy to rip the shrink wrap when you're stretching it out like this. And so now let's see if I made it big enough here. Get on there. So I have the window open right next to me, so you might hear the neighbor's dog freaking out. It's not Teddy, don't worry. Oh yeah, perfect. So there we go. Up against the connector. And that's not a lighter. That's a lighter. That's not a knife. There we go. And even though I stretched that shrink wrap out, when you hit it with heat, it goes all the way back down. So yeah. Papa Perk. Papa Perk is asking what size. These are the 2-inch ones. I have two 2-inch baby turtles. This one's going to get an 03 light. This one is getting analog. This is a machinist's workbench made by the company Kennedy. My dad got this for me forever ago, and it's been an absolute workhorse for like 20 years I've been using this thing. Okay, so let's get the rest of our soldering done here. We're just gonna hook this guy up real quick. This X12 has this 180-degree connector on it, which doesn't make any sense for the build that we're about to do. So we'll just real quick swap this out. And there we go. 2 little OmniFixo arms like that. And then the third one can just connect to one of the other two to triangulate it and make sure things don't move when you don't want them to move. It's like the best way of using the OmniFixo in my experience. I absolutely love it. And get some of this other junk out of the way. All right, so we're going to do 2 nice little blobs of flux here. I'm going to put those on the top of these through holes, and then I'm just going to put the heat on top and pull the plug out the bottom. Clean the tip of the soldering iron when you pull it out of the stand, not when you put it back in the stand. And it looks like ground is towards the grommet. We'll do that one first. Give it a second for the heat to penetrate all the way through. And that's too long. Let's get out of there. I'm going to tin the tip of the soldering iron. And we're going to try again. I have a feeling there's some lead-free solder in there, which is being a pain in the ass, but we got it. Good to go. And then here's the positive lead, which is always 1,000 times easier. All right, and so now we're going to take this guy, and I'm going to solder these. I'm tempted to solder these going upwards, but this AIO is going to sit really high in the frame. You'll see why in a little bit. So I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to solder these going downwards because I'm going to have enough. I should have enough of a gap on the bottom for this because I am setting this up. I'm not taking the motor plugs off. And so I'm going to have to lift. Luckily, there's acres of room in the frame. But yeah, I'm going to have to lift the flight controller up quite a bit in order to do that. But the space is there, so why not? I'm going to put just the tip of the soldering iron against these through holes to put heat into them. And then push these wires through from below. Give it another second here. I wasn't quite in position. There we go. And so what you can do is what you just saw me is get that whole shit hot, and then when you pull the tip of the soldering iron away, you can sneak the wire through really quick. And that way you can push the wire all the way through so that the silicone is butted up against the PCB. That's going to give you the strongest joint. The problem with doing this is that the very tip of the soldering iron doesn't get that hot. And so you got to be a little extra patient usually when you do this. Let's try it with the ground. Patience, patience, patience. Nope, see? Did not work with the ground. Give it another split second here. Nope, see? Ain't working. So what I got to do, I got the wire started in there. I'll put the tip of the soldering iron flat against this pad. That's going to transfer more heat. I'm also going to clean it off, and I'm going to hit it with a little bit of flux here. The joint is so hot that this flux paste is going to immediately liquefy, but it's still there. And then so we're going to come right back onto this, hammer this with heat from the flat part of the soldering iron, get this whole shit hot, and there we go. And now I can ram that through the rest of the way. The last thing you want to do if you're going to do that is take a look at the bottom of the solder joint to make sure that no individual little wires have gone rogue, because that is a perfect opportunity for one little wire to peak and bridge the positive and negative. But in this case, we are good to go. Let me see if I can show you the end result of doing that. Basically, what we're doing is we're getting the silicone butted all the way up against the PCB. That's the strongest way to do it. Come on, you rat fuck. There we go. All right, so let's flip this upside down. See how the silicone is right up against there? And so you need to look really carefully at the base of each one of these to make sure that there's no single strand of wire that went rogue there. And see the wire is peeking up above the board because I pushed it all the way through there. That's the strongest way to do that, because now as this bends here, it's going to bend inside the silicone, and the silicone does a really good job at like making it bend like rounded versus like this. If it all bends in this one spot where my knuckles are, it's going to break there. What this does is it makes the bend nice and rounded, and so it doesn't try to break each individual wire. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. The last thing that I like to do is just start them, just give them a little bit of assistance going the way that you want them to go, which is typically backwards. So just take the silicone and just give it a little bit of a push here, and that way you're like pre-bending it in the correct direction. All right, so we can turn the soldering iron off. We are done with that. Let's pull this thing up. Oh, I lied. I have to Well, I don't have to, but I'm choosing to direct solder this camera to this AIO because it's the same amount of I'm probably not going to stick with this camera. I'm going to try a couple different cameras. So, I mean, these things are meant to fly outside, right? And we typically run cameras inside on the Tiny Whoops. And so I want to try a couple different cameras. The first one that I'm going to try is the Foxeer Razer. And this one on my bench just happened to have bare wires. The X12 has a set of pads on it. And so I can just really quickly look up the wiring diagram for the X12 and direct solder it. Happy Model X12 wiring. All right. And so we can come here and awesome. So we want video in, 5 volt and ground. Video in, video out, 5 volt ground. Oh my God, how many versions are there? What? Holy Christ. Okay, hold on. Let me see which. Hopefully it's got silk screened on it what version it is. I know it's ELRS. X12 ELRS V2.2. X12 ELRS V2.2. Well, this is close enough. It's probably this one. And so, okay, it's the first pad, skip a pad, and then it's 5 volt, and then it's ground. So what I'm going to do is tin those pads real quick. And so if I put it here like this, just super quick, I'm going to tin the pads that I want to use. So we got video in, skip, ground, I'm sorry, 5 volts rather, and then ground over here. Okay, so those are tinned. The wires are not tinned. Let me tin the wires on this camera super quick. Might as well while I'm tinning things. And so the exposed bits of wire on this camera are too long. I'm not going to cut them off yet, though. I'm going to tin them, and then I'll cut them off. That way I'll get a nice clean cut. And so the individual strands of wires are also all frayed to hell, so I'm just getting these bundled up. Okay, cool. So there we go with the wires. I'm just going to tin them real quick and then cut them down to the proper length. So there we go with that. All right. Video wires tinned. Ground wires tinned. Positive wires tinned. And then, so these pads on this AIO are like really, really small. So I'm just going to come in here and snip just the right amount off. Okay, there's one. There's 2. And 3. All right, cool. Keep an eye on where those little guys go. Make sure they don't land on the board. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And so now I'm tempted to take this camera out, but this will be fine. We're just going to knock this out real quick here. These wires have been spun up like crazy. All right, so let's just separate these guys out. And so it's video, what did I say? Video, then 5 volt, then ground. So yellow first. This is going to be rough. This thing is not sitting in the best position, but let me just see if I can half-ass this. I hate doing work this way, but sometimes it saves you enough time. This is kind of the most challenging way to do it, and it's the way to get the worst results, but I've been doing this for long enough where I can usually kind of pull this off. It's not a great idea though. Don't do that. Don't do things this way. All right, so video wire first. Good to go. And then get this guy out of here. I almost just burned myself. Come on, get out of there. There we go. All right. What I'm doing here is I'm just making sure that I grab only the very tip of the wire with these super fine tweezers. All right, there's the positive. And here comes ground. Yeah, there we go. Ground, as always, is going to be the most annoying, and so make sure that you have it exactly in the right position. And make sure you spend enough time on the pad that it's not a cold solder joint. You want to make sure that you're on there for long enough that the pad gets hot, not just the wire. And I was kind of second guessing myself there, so I hit it one more time. And I was kind of second guessing myself on this voltage pad too. So what I'll do here is I'll go over to that pad and then bridge that and the ground pad and have to do this all over again. That went well. So I didn't have flux on here. That was a part of the problem. We're going to get some flux on here. I'm going to hold the ground wire in place, and I'm just going to heat up this whole area here and then pull outwards, and that will break the bridge. And now I'm just going to really quickly make sure that the ground pad has enough heat in it, and that's looking good now. Give it a second to cool down, and now come back here to the positive pad. You can see this is why I hate doing it like this. As I move the wire, the board's trying to move around with it. All right, here we go. Voltage pad, all set. Cool. All right, so that's good to go. Now we can turn off the soldering iron. So we've got our camera soldered up. We've got our battery lead soldered up. I'm going to give these wires just a little tug to make sure that they're not cold solder joints. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine as well. Unbelievably, that's all the soldering that we need to do. That's absolutely insane. What I do need to do, though, is get some screws going in this thing, and we got to figure out how we're going to space this stuff up. So this is going to take a minute. This is going to be the hardest part about this build. And so let's get it rolling. I also need to figure out how I'm going to hold the battery onto this thing. But, you know, details, right? So these standoffs are, I want to say like 12 millimeters. This is an M2x14. I'm basically going to need hardware screws that are almost the same length as the standoffs. And so M2x14 is a little bit too short. So that means that these M2x16s are probably exactly what I need, and they are indeed. All right, so the reason I'm having to mount this so high, again, is because I'm not removing the plug headers. Not the best way of doing that, but I don't want to, like, permanently, I don't want to set this AIO up permanently for this rig. Because in the past, I have not loved these open prop tiny little builds. So I'm doing this in a way that it is as reversible as possible. And so let's get a set of hardware that actually matches. I've got 4 different types of screws right now. There we go. There's 2 of a kind. There's 3 of a kind. Where's the 4th? There's the 4th. Okay, cool. All right. Put these button heads back in here. So these are M2x16s. And so now we need to space these out. And I think I have a funny feeling that a 5mm spacer might be just about right. So let's give it a shot. What color are these motors? These are blue motors. Okay, so I've got these blue, smooth, 5mm threaded spacers that I'm hoping might be perfect here. Let's find out together. I might actually need more than that, but we'll start here and see how far it gets us. Woo, so little. So itty bitty. I'm going to need more than this. That's absurd. I can already tell. But let's just throw one on just to see. I don't know where I got these smooth standoffs. I got these forever ago. You can only really get them in knurled. These smooth ones suck, though, because if you grab them with pliers to try to tighten to them, it leaves horrible marks. It leaves marks in the knurled ones, but you can't, like, see the marks as easily. All right, so with that there, let's just test fit 1 and see where it puts us. Oh, no, this is it. This is good to go. That gives me just enough space. I am going to have to plug the motors in beforehand. And so, yeah. If I was going to do this the right way to do this, I think, would be to take these motor plugs off and put them up on the top. And then you could slam this board down nice and low. Because the USB port looks like it will clear on the bottom of that, right? So that would be a better way of doing it, but this should be totally fine. I'm actually really excited that these 5mm spacers are going to work. I'm second guessing using these blue ones, though. I do have some plastic ones in here. Are these the same thickness? No, these plastic ones are a little bit thicker, so I actually don't want to use those. Yeah, all right. We'll use these. We'll use these blue ones. These will be fine. I am going to put a couple little ultra thin washers on the bottom of them, though. Forever ago on Amazon, I bought this like 100-pack of these little M2 washers. And they're super, super, super thin, so they shouldn't add any height here. But they're gonna keep the grommet from trying to go down over the little standoff here. And so the other nice thing about this setup is going to be that these little standoffs are going to firm up these stack screws, so the stack screws don't wobble around. So this stack screw is now nice and strong. It's a nice little vertical tower there for the flight controller to drop down on. The biggest problem with doing it this way, where I'm lifting it up like this, is that I'm adding a bunch of weight. This is not... If I fall in love with this thing, I will pull this apart, and I will figure out a way to slam this AIO as low as possible in the interest of weight savings, if nothing else. But again, this is an exploratory setup. I'm going to be changing probably all of these to 2S. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to leave these on 1S. And so, yeah, I'm just doing this as like first kind of hit. We'll start off low power, and then we'll keep cranking the power up until this thing flies the way that we want it to. I'm pretty sure that that's going to be, like I said, a 2S build. Tonight, I'm going to put this onto BetaFPV 1102 22,000 kV motors. I might swap this over to the GEP-RC 1002 25,000 kV motors, but I don't think I'll need to. With a 2-inch biblade propeller, I don't think that I'll need 25,000 kV. I think the problem is going to be not enough stator... I think the problem is going to be just the voltage. I don't think that 1S is really going to be enough voltage for any 2-inch prop. But I've been wrong before. And, I am absolutely going to test this out to see if this setup can work. So the other problem that I'm maybe looking at here is this camera not clearing. So let's pull this camera off, actually. Yeah, there we go. This Foxeer Razer camera might be a little too deep for this setup, but let's keep going. We'll give it a try. All right, let's see here. Just get this spacer down. You can get these M2x5 spacers from Newbie Drone. I don't know if any of the other shops have them, but I'm certain that Newbie Drone does. They won't be smooth like this. They will be knurled, but I actually like the knurled ones a lot better. So now we're going to take these little M2 spacers and just drop them on top of each one of these. Come on. Ah! There we go. Okay. Can't see shit. There we go. That guy on there. And then this guy on here. All right. So now let's drop the AIO down. And then we'll put the camera on. And we'll see if this is going to clear. Ooh, it's going to be real close. Let's leave the camera off for now. And I'm going to throw some nylock nuts on here. Or, nah, let's do plastic nuts. It's going to get too heavy with the nylock nuts. Let's go plastic. We should be okay here. In theory, they won't back out because they'll be pushing up against the rubber grommets. So let me just find a set of plastic nuts here. We got 1, we got 2, we've got 3, and 4. Those look like they might not be stripped. This is where the nut grabber is absolute gold. When you hit my Amazon affiliate link, it brings you to this item. It is absolutely amazing for these plastic nuts. I cannot deal with these plastic nuts without this nut grabber. And so you just get them right side up. This is like a jeweler's thing, but it's absolutely perfect for us. And so there we go. Just like that. I have a feeling that this one that I'm picking up right now is going to be stripped out, but let's at least give it a shot. Yep, no, we're fine. Yeah, come on. Oh my god, why does that nut keep flipping over? Every single time I put it right side up, it flips back over. Okay. And last one. What is the deal, you little bastard? What are you doing? Are both sides of it smooth? Both sides of it are smooth. There we go. All right. So I typically will tighten these with one sort of finger. If you go on the outside and tighten it like this, you kind of can't over tighten it because you'll start to slip like this. Cool? That's a really nice way of tightening these all to the same amount because your finger will kind of slip off at the same amount of tension here. You can also kind of like look at the rubber grommets and see how much they're squishing, but that's, you know, like how much is one squishing versus the next is sometimes a little bit tough to tell. Always take a quick look, make sure that one of them is not super squanched in there. These all look really good. I'm actually going to give them all just another couple little twists here, and we should be good to go. Cool. Let's see if this camera's going to fit. Okay. So this is the camera holder for the uh, HD0 Eco, I believe it is. It's not the best, but it is gonna work for right now. Sub250G did respond to me on Instagram, and he said, "Hey, the version 6 Turtle has a whole bunch of camera mounts that you can use." I kind of saw that too late in the day here today, though, so I'm just going to use this one. It's not holding the camera totally flat, but I think I've got it kind of close enough, and it looks like the camera is kind of bracing against the board. Boy, that is tight. I don't love this. I'm going to try not to crash this super hard, but I actually think that this might be okay. It's plastic pushing into rubber, pushing into like the back of the board. But yeah, I'm not going to like leave this and fly it really hard like this. What's important is that it's not pushing up against the AIO. The AIO is free to move in there. You see that? And so this will fly fine. It's just this camera, yeah, having it pushed up like that is not the best thing in the world. But we'll be okay for a couple test flights, and then for me to go, yeah, it doesn't make enough power. We got to put it on the 2S, and then I'll do this differently on 2S. So now is when I get to realize that I needed to plug the motors in before I tightened the AIO down. So that was a big waste of time. God damn it. Let's get the motors screwed. Well, first and foremost, let's make sure that the motor wires are going to be long enough. And they are, just barely. But yeah, okay. So the motor wires are long enough. I can't get them angled under there to get them plugged in. I don't think. I mean, it's worth a quick try, I guess. So just get these wires situated here. And no, there's not enough room to get that slid under there. So I got to pull this apart. That was kind of silly. I just said it like 10 minutes ago, too. Brandon's Baked Bean says, I love my nut grabber. Razer FPV says that nut grabber is straight out of Total Recall. Oh, God. Hey, Brandon, any interest in coming on the stream Monday to take a look at those 4 7-inch logs with the different propellers to see if you can talk to us about what you can see in logs that tips you off about propeller performance and propeller weight. The weight is the thing. Like, I'm hoping that you can see response time in there, and I'm hoping that you can tell a difference between the weight of the props. It might be a really cool way to compare propellers. Or it doesn't have to be Monday. Whatever live stream is most convenient for you. I would love to just have you jump into a Discord call and just kind of share screen, or you can just talk me through it. I'll pull them up on Black Box Explorer, and we'll just kind of take a quick look at them and see what's what. Let me know if you're down with that. I would absolutely. I and everyone, I'm sure, would absolutely love that. Okay, so I'm just going to get the motors plugged in, and then I'm going to throw this on here, and then we will get the motors bolted down after the fact. I think that's going to be the easiest way to get this going here. All right, so there we are with this. All right. And all right, that's looking nice and clean. I'm just making sure that I get the wires folded over nice and tight on the plug. Also making sure that the tab on the plug is facing outwards where it needs to be for these. Okay. I'm having to like untwist the motors a little bit here. There we go. We don't really deal with this on the Tiny Whoops because the motors are a lot closer to the AIO, but this is a 2-inch frame, and so the motors are significantly farther away. Okay. Go with this. And there we go with that. All right, that's looking pretty good. I just need to untwist this a little bit more. There we go. Perfect. All right. And so there is our full squid. I just love quads that are like that. Like that is just the most quintessential FPV thing ever right there, in my opinion. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Strap this on down. If I needed to lift this AIO up anymore, I would just actually use grommets that are a little bit even taller on the bottom. These grommets are a little bit taller on the bottom, but not much. Oh, you know what? I forgot about that. Yeah, so here's the other way to do it. If you don't have a nut grabber, you put your index finger down on these things and push really hard so it sticks, and then bring this sideways, and you can get like a quarter turn on them. Nope, see, sometimes it doesn't work though. Yeah. I'm doing an alright job with this tonight. Brandon says, I can do that. Monday should be free. To check the response time between the props, we need some fast throttle pumps. So I've been doing that on all the logs, so hopefully that'll be good enough. Check response time between props. We need some good throttle set point peak to compare to RPM readout. Without that, it's hard to quantify with the black box. Okay, cool. I think that in all of those logs, I will have... whenever I'm doing a tuning flight, I always hammer the throttle up and down a bunch as fast as I can. And so hopefully there are moments in there that we see that. To be honest, though, the main thing that I want to be looking for is like just which prop is more balanced, basically. I mean, it's hard to tell. The GemFan big wide blade bastards, they're so... Teddy, excuse me. What are you doing? Yeah, they make such a crazy noise from the props being so like wide and thick that it's hard to tell if they're well balanced. Yeah, I don't know. I'm super curious to see what you can see in these logs with flights that I did damn near identical to one another on 4 different propellers. And, 7-inch propellers tend to be sort of the most finicky. So I think this could be really, really cool. I hope so. I hope so. Look at that, man. Look at this little thing. What on earth? Look at this little guy. Look at this little effing boy. So I think I'm going to use this whip. No, this is too long. Well, so I got this crazy... How the hell are you supposed to use that? It goes right into the back of the thing. How's an antenna supposed to stick through there? What the hell? So these are the 3D prints from their website. I could use this one. I might need to use this one. And I'm planning on using the little XT30 to just mash this little guy through, just to keep it out of the props. Just run it through like that, let it be loose, and it'll be out of the props. But on this guy, the outlet pushes right up against the thing. I guess maybe I can pull it out there a little bit just to sneak it through. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. I see now. And that goes up around the bing bong. So what's happening here, though? How do I get this? Is it like that? I guess it's just like that. So it's there. And now will this be long enough? Nope. Okay, so this antenna is not long enough. Let's find an antenna that is. All right, hold on. I'm also very tempted not to use this 3D printed stuff because it's potentially a little bit heavy. But again, right now we're going to build it all the way up, all fancy, and then we'll dial it in from there. If we need to shave weight, we'll shave weight. If we need to schnarfle the Garthog, we'll take care of that. So this needs a pretty long antenna wire here. What do I got? Because the UFL is all the way up here. And that's all the way out there. And I got to sneak a battery up here too. All right, so like the battery's got to chill. Something like that. Oh man, this is going to... I might actually ditch this because that kind of gives the battery nowhere to go. Oh my god, this isn't... Oh, I did not think this through. Is this going to be long enough? Oh man, I maybe should have left this. I'm going to ditch this because the battery won't fit with this thing on here. So let's get rid of this for now, and I'll just use a little zip tie on the antenna, and I'll just shoot the antenna right out the back here. So if that plugs in there, I won't need as long of an antenna now, which is kind of nice. So I don't need this. Let's see if I can make one of these ORTs work. That would be really nice. Ooh, yeah. Zip tie that like that. Maybe over on that side. Is this... I kind of need a slightly longer ORT in this case. Okay, so this is the regular 50mm ORT that you can buy from anywhere. And this looks like it's going to be pretty much perfect. So let's run this guy. Nice and lightweight too. Yeah, let's run this right out the back there. And I'll make that work. All right, so get this UFL plugged in here. Man, I usually, yeah, I can't do these UFLs without some kind of magnification anymore. It's wild. All right, get this guy on here, and it's almost like being able to see what you're doing has one of the biggest effects on being able to do clean work on these things. It's so weird. Who would have ever thought? All right. That's looking pretty good. That can just... Shit, I might just leave that. That like kind of hooks itself on there. But if it gets hit, it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. What if I run it out this side? I don't want to point the antenna downwards. I do want to make sure that the antenna is pointing somewhat upwards. Yeah, I'm just going to throw maybe a little zip tie on there and just keep it like that. And then the battery wire, it can come up and around like that. Yeah, that looks good. That should work. Okay, let me get these flight controller screws screwed down. And I'm actually going to do that the quick and easy way, which is a little MIP driver. Crank these down real quick. Not MIP driver, WIHA driver. Okay. This one needs a little bit more. This one needs a little bit more. All right, looking good. They've still got a little bit of squish to them. Front one I can do just a little touch extra. Okay, that looks fine. And got this guy. All right, so we got an antenna. We got an antenna, as Nick Burns pronounces it. And this should sit flat enough. And now hopefully we're going to get pretty shitty ELRS reception because we've got a ceramic antenna inside of the carbon fiber frame. But I'm hoping that the carbon fiber frame is basically thin enough that it won't be too much of an issue. I'll let you know. All right, so this is the 3D print for the battery holder. I don't think I'm going to use this, though. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to use this because it's not for the V3. It's for the Pro. Yeah, it's sized for the Pro. Okay, so I'm not going to use that. I need something to hold this battery down. I think I have a couple of rubber bands in here somewhere, which is like heresy for me, but I'll do it. Let's see. So, Teddy, back up. What are you doing? Back up off me. You bad. Ooh! Ooh, nice thick bitches. Here we go. All right, let's test this guy. So I put this guy on here. I put this 450 in there. Will that hold? Nah, it's a little too loose. A little too loose. What do we got that's smaller than that? Anything? Any of these? Ooh, it's raining out. Those are all the same. Those are all the same. Shit sticks. These are all just a little bit too... This one looks like it might be smaller. Hold on, let's try this one. Man, it would be nice to run one of these thick rubber bands. Let's try this guy. Ugh. Well, here's what I'll do. I'll put a little bit of grip on this. Now, it's still too thin. Even with grip, this is gonna be too loose. Damn. What else do I have? I got these little tiny ones. I'll probably end up using these. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use, I think, 2 of these, and I'll double them up. Let's see. If I double this up... Oh, wow. Okay. I guess I'm not using these, because these have apparently been in here for a long time. Oh, wait, no. This one's fine. Here, this one's okay. All right, let's see. So, if I double this up... I think it's going to be too tight. Doubled up. Nah, that should be okay. And... yeah, that'll be fine. I'm going to use 2 of them, though. And so, let's get this going here. Okay. Oh, man, a whole bunch of these have gotten really hard. Oh, my God, dude. Twist his dick, bro. The old dick twist. It's an Instagram meme. All right, those 2 feel like they're the least hardened. That was crazy, man. I've had these rubber bands in here for a long ass time. I am super suspect of these now, but I don't know. They feel maybe okay. So let's come here and get this going. All right, double that one, and then we'll double this one. I'm not gonna do grip to try to save a little bit of weight right now. I might need to do it in the future, but let's try it without it. I'm gonna try pretty hard to not crash this thing. So we'll see how that goes. Like initially, I don't want to just mangle the thing right away. I'm gonna try to be chill off the bat here, and then we'll gradually push it more and more. If it flies okay, I you know, if I get it up in the air and it's obviously overpropped, then I'll move straight to trying to figure something else out. Well, I mean, just basically swapping motors or swapping it to 2S. Swapping it to 2S is going to be the the end result on the Pro frame that's going to get the O4 light. But I have hopes that this analog one might be somewhat usable in this current setup. So let's go down with that, and then I'll put that up there. And if I wrap the this tie wrap like that, I think it'll put the antenna in the upwards direction a little bit. Yeah, sure enough. Okay, cool. So let's get this locked in. Okay. Just hoping this antenna is not in the way of the battery plug, because it's looking like everything is kind of fighting for space off on this right side, but I'm hoping that I can run the battery out like that, basically. And then I'll just need to put a little bend. I have to put another bend in these damn wires. I should have maybe left that 180-degree connector on. That might have been perfect. But I don't know what I was thinking with this. I can always run those Tiny Whoop 450s that have the little leads on them. That's kind of why I wanted to run this with this little XT30, so that I could keep the battery leads going through there. But this battery lead is so short that this might be totally fine here. So antenna's looking pretty good. Let's cut this off. I don't think I need to tighten that antenna anymore. Teddy is just going absolutely apeshit. I don't know what's gotten into him. He's running around like a nut job. All right, and so that sits like that, and then this comes up and over and plugs in. Yeah, wow, just barely. That is going to crash horribly. That is not going to crash well, but I'm going to try to not wreck it, or I'll just run those Tiny Whoop batteries. I'm afraid that those Tiny Whoop batteries, though, this lead is going to be out like in the prop line. But I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. So I need some motor screws that are long enough here to go through the 2.5mm carbon, I think. So that probably means I'm going to need, or no, this might be 3.5mm. I forget what I got. But maybe these M2x5s, let's see. Put one through and we'll see how much thread peeks out. Oh, wait, no. I'm not going to use M2s because these are not M2 screw hole motors. I need to use M1.4s. So let's get that going real quick. That means I need to get this back out here. All right. And I'm probably going to need to use the screws that I just put away from that Meteor75 Pro frame. Let's see. So that would be this guy. Let's see how far this peeks through that carbon. Yeah, perfect. Yep, that's the one. Okay, cool. So 1, 2. Wait, is that the same length? Yep. 3. That fell into the carpet and is gone forever. No, I found it. Holy hell. 3. And then we got 4, 5, 6. Wait, no. 6, 7, 8. Come on. Is that the same length, or is that a little bit shorter? That one's a little bit shorter. I don't want that one. It was like a 0.5 millimeter shorter. That was weird. Hold on. Some of these look... I can always see the difference between a full millimeter, but I swear to God, sometimes these are a 0.5 millimeter different. Nah, these are all fine. It's optical illusion, I guess. All right. Get these motors screwed down. I am going to test hover this in here, because, you know, what's the worst that can happen? But And like I will try to kind of float it around the room, but it's going to be impossible. All right, there we go. Whew. First motor going on. I am going to spin this motor up a little bit to try to just eat some of this extra cord length up, because there's like nowhere for this motor wire to go, basically. That's why I was worried about these motor wires being too short, but they're actually a little bit too long. I gotta make sure they don't go up into the prop, because on an O2 motor, you don't have much room between the prop and the arm. Oh yeah, yo. Yeah, there we go. So these are the motors from that BetaFPV Meteor75 O4 that they sent. Now that I've put a bunch of batteries through that thing, I feel okay using it for parts. I've heard such good things. So many people run these 1102 BetaFPV 1102s on these open prop setups. And it makes sense, man. These motors are just awesome. They're very lightweight. They make great power. And you can just get them anywhere. And a lot of times, like, you'll see them for sale used because people are, like, parting out, like, a Meteor75 Pro, for example. These are great motors. I've been using these forever. This was the first motor that I put onto the tiny lifters way back in the day. That actually had enough jam to where it felt really good. Did I only get 9? I think I only got 9 of these screws. That's a weird thing to have done, because there's only 3 left on the table here, so I kind of must have. Unless there's 3 of them stuck to one of these motors. Nope, I only got 9 of them. That's a weird brain fart. Okay. So now we got 10, 11, 12. Cool. Strikers in the chat asking a bunch of questions. I'll get to them in a second. All right. And again, I'm just going to put one more turn on this motor to keep these motor wires as tight as possible. All right. Okay. 3 out of 4. Last one coming up. Making sure I get these. I'm tightening these motors much more than I normally do in the plastic frame, because like the plastic frame itself keeps these motors from backing out. Carbon fiber does not. Sometimes it feels like carbon fiber tries to unscrew the screws, the motor screws. Just because the motors vibrate so hard. Come on, get in there. There we go. All right, last one here. Crank these guys down. Oh, we can also get a weight on this build. It's going to be heavy. This is going to be heavy for sure. Hopefully the saving grace is going to be the giant 2-inch props. But yeah, this is going to be very heavy. All this carbon fiber, the big long M2 stack mounting screws, like these builds always end up. One of the problems that I've always had with these builds is that they end up being heavy, and then that hurts the power to weight ratio, and then they just typically don't fly all that great. But we revisiting. We're gonna see what's what here. I don't love how this antenna is mounted. But I think it'll be okay just to kind of get this in the air and see what's going on. And then if I really like this, I am going to change the way that this antenna is set up, because this is a little jank right now. But I think it'll be okay as long as I don't crash the shit out of it, and as long as the battery doesn't smash into it. That's one of the things I'm kind of worried about. Yeah, it's gonna kind of pushes the battery over. No, you know what? I'm gonna redo this antenna, and I'm actually gonna do the worst thing possible, which is gonna be to put the antenna facing downwards. But I'm doing this out of not wanting to rip this antenna to pieces. So I'm just going to point this down. I'm going to put the zip tie on it in the opposite direction that I had a minute ago, just to get it the hell out of the way. I just want to make sure that we can get it up in the air without the antenna ripping off or ripping the UFL off the board or any weird shit like that. So run this under here and run this up over here. And now the antenna is completely out of the way. It's not going to work very well, but it's out of the way and it's durable. We'll figure out a better solution in the future. But yeah, that's going to be much stronger, I guess you could say, that way. All right, that's fine. I'm not going to go like flying this a half mile out or any nonsense like that. Not that you even really could with an analog setup like this. All right, cool, especially with a ceramic antenna. Everything looks like it's kind of clearing, which is awesome. Battery's going to chill up in here. Let's see how annoying this is to get this battery in here. Not too bad. Okay, let's get the screws on the front of this thing. That will help. Where'd they go? Is this them? I think this is them. Pretty sure this is them. Okay. And yep, that's the ones. I don't know how the battery is going to do on this top plate without any grip. Hopefully it does all right. Grip is going to make it so sticky that it might be a pain in the ass to get the battery in and out. So let's just see how it is. Well, now, you know what? The first time I nose this thing in, the battery is going to come shooting out the front. So you know what? I do actually need to go with some grip right now. So let's just take a tiny little piece. We're just going to take the smallest amount and put it up in the front area there. And hopefully that'll be enough. I have a little shred of it here in green. So let's just do this real quick. Yeah, so I'm just going to put this right up front. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, nice. So, chop this guy here. And I think I'm literally just going to put it exactly right there. Just that. Just to give the front of the battery a little bit of grip. Maybe it's enough. Maybe it's not. We will find out. We will F around and find out. And so let's get this perfectly centered here. There we go. Yeah. All right. That's weird that that little tiny piece of grip that I just happened to have in there was damn near the exact right size. I always like to get a little bit of finger grease on this grip because it's too sticky initially. And so if you just do this a little bit, you'll feel it get a little less sticky, and then it'll be just kind of right. it's going to get disgusting pretty quickly anyway. As soon as you crash it, it'll get all kinds of dust and dirt and shit all over it. All right, so flat part of the battery towards me, like that. And then, so we put it through there and then just bump it up. Yeah, that's not too bad. Sweet. And then I can slide this one back, leave this one all the way forward. Looks like a quad, man. Look at that. Oh, these rubber bands are not long for this world. And it looks like I have just enough to plug it in. Boy, a hard hit on the back here, though, is going to just annihilate this thing. So, yeah, a battery lead with a 90-degree would be a lot better. What about the BetaFPV 180s? How would they be? How would these guys be sitting in there? Oh, yeah, that's the move. That's what I should have done. Christ. Although that's still going to get hammered, man. This is not a build that you can crash hard. Having this out, hanging out like this, you hit this thing like this, it's going to just brutalize the battery and the lead. That's tough. I don't know how you would get around that. This is a big. I guess to get around it, you'd mount the battery on the bottom, maybe. But yeah, this is a big ass battery. On the top of this thing. It's a very long battery. It would be better with a shorter battery. But yeah, this is not meant for bottom mount. This is meant for top mount. I guess I could maybe slide the battery a little bit farther forward. But it's going to start to show up in the FPV view if I keep moving the battery forward. Yeah, like I wonder if I can have the battery there where the back of the battery notches down in front of this screw header. I'm going to try that. That's going to make it crash a lot better, and you know damn well I'm going to crash it. But yeah, no, I'm going to be able to see this battery almost certainly in the camera view. Well, let's see. It should have a... Oh yeah, just barely. You can just barely see the top of the battery here. I could maybe use taller grip or like a second piece of grip. Oh man, that's a shame. You know what I can do is I can just put an angle on the battery. I can just do this little move here. Put a little angle on the bottom of the battery. Get it out of that view. Let's see. Close enough. Well, it works. It hasn't blown up yet. Let's see if the motors are spinning the right direction. I might not even need to plug this into Betaflight. I'm sure that I will, but worth a quick shot. I'm going to click on Betaflight real quick just to get it rolling. Oh, wow, there's a bunch of the battery showing on the right side there. But whatever. It'll be fine. Maybe. ELRS has connected. Let's see what direction these motors are spinning. The wrong direction. Out. In. Out. In. Okay. Let's get this hooked up to Betaflight. Get these motors spinning the right direction. I gotta go try to find a set of 2-inch ultra lightweight low pitch-ish props. And then we will do a quick test hover. Okay, now is also when we're going to get to see will a USB plug fit. I should have tested that before. Shit. I do have 90-degree USB jib jabs. Let's see if they'll get me out of the woods here. It's looking good. Oh, maybe. Maybe. So a little 90 here. And then, can I sneak the plug in here? No, I cannot. All right, I need a USB plug. USB mini with not a lot of plastic around it. This USB plug that I use, this plastic is pretty thick. I need one that's much thinner. What about this white one here? I think this is just power, though. Oh, no. No, 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 not like this. Not like this! Oh, shit. Well, what I need is like a 45-degree USB plug. Come on. Oh, got it. I got it with this this one. Oh boy, that would have been fucking annoying to have to pull it all the way back apart just to plug in USB. Okay. Beta flight's up. Shit, this is not a data cord though, is it? Yeah, it is. No, it's not. God damn you. Or it's just not plugged in enough because of this jaunty ass angle that I've got it at. Let me try another cable. Balls! Do I have a cable in my flight bag? I should. You might have to fly your 6 batteries without me, friends. We're getting into after hours. Oh man, really? I don't have a goddamn cable. Hold on. Yikes. Teddy, chill, buddy. Chill. That's USB-C. Come on, you fart. What about this? That's double USB mini. That's almost certainly going to be the wrong one. Oh. What is this? Hold on. Here we go. Here's a whole bag of them. There's got to be one that works in here. That one definitely won't work. That one definitely won't work. Ooh, this one will work if it passes data. That's not the right cable. This one will work too. That definitely won't work. That one won't work. Come on now. Are you saying meow? All right, let's see. These both probably only pass power, but we'll give them a try. Teddy, I need you to move your fat little ass. All right, here we go. So let's try. Let me try these in a normal rig to see if they'll pass data. Okay. Virtual mode, experimental, not a good sign. This cable didn't even work. The hell? What the hell? Okay. This one is power only. I really need to start throwing these away. When they only... That's what my dad does. He cuts them and throws them away. Alright, let's try this one. Come on, dude. Oh, well, this one fell apart, so perfect. I'll throw it away. Screw you. One more. Boy, it would be nice for one of these short cables to pass data. It ain't gonna be this one. I can already tell. Okay. So those are all just little tiny short data cables. That's why I held on to them, I guess, because they're nice and short. This one should certainly pass data, though, and this is short enough. Let's just check it. There it is. Yeah, all right, so this cable will work. Let's get it plugged into this little 90-degree jib jab. And then sneak it down past the bottom plate. So this is the other problem with me putting this AIO so far down, so far up in this frame, is that the USB port is like ultra recessed and really hard to get to. Ah, there we go, though. We're good, we're good, we're good. All right, let's power it up and get into the motors tab real quick. I won't need to reorder them because the USB port is still at the back. I just need to get them spinning in the right direction. So motor number 1 is going out. We're going to reverse it. Motor number 2 is going in. Good to go. Motor number 3 is going in. Motor number 4 is going out. That's weird. I swear to God, a minute ago, motor number 3 was spinning inwards. Weird. Stop motors closed. Let's check it in here. Motor 1 is good. Motor 3 is good. Motor 4 is good. Motor 2 is good. All set to go. Unplug it. And let me find a set of 2-inch props. Woo! I was really worried I was going to have to pull this thing all the way apart again just to get the flight controller plugged in. 2-inch props, where would they be? If I was a 2-inch prop, where would I be? Lying on the floor. That's a great spot for them. I think I put them there because I was planning on getting them put away, but then I didn't get them put away. So what do we got? I got 3 different lightweight 2-inch propellers here. I've got HQ. The hell is that? 65R-1. 65 as in 65 millimeters. And then I've got this Gem Fan 65 MMS. Please, make sure you don't tell me the pitch. That would be way too helpful. Nope, no idea what the pitch is. And then I've got these HQ T65 millimeter, which are, they have a hub designed for 3 screws, so these will certainly be heavier. Let's do these Gem Fans. Why not? So I've got a counterclockwise, and then we're going to go another counterclockwise. There's a clockwise. There's a clockwise. Cool. As always, use your 1.5 millimeter drill bit to make sure you don't hammer these things onto the motors and never be able to get them off. Oh, that's interesting. The drill bit slid right onto the prop until it hit the top part of the propeller where it gets a lot tighter. All right. And if I ever need to make these propellers fit tighter, I've got these M1.7 by 10 screws that at some point I'll get up onto the Etsy store. If you need them, let me know. But they work brilliantly to tighten these propellers up for 1.5 millimeter motor shafts. Now we'll also get to see if these propellers are going to clear. Nope. Apparently I did not buy the 2-inch version of this frame because that comes nowhere near clearing. I ordered the 2-inch version of this frame, but that is not what I have here. So, although wait, no, 65 millimeter. That's 2.5 inch. These are 2.5 inch props. Sorry. I know where the 2-inch props are. They're over there. Everything's over there. My bad. Yeah, these are all 2.5. 65 millimeter is 2.5 inches, not 2. Teddy, can you pick the worst possible spot, please, and then just hang out there forever and make me want to absolutely lose my mind? Oh, you're already doing that? Oh, you've always done that forever, and you will always do that. Oh, okay. I knew that. What we're looking for is 55 millimeter, and here it is. Look at this big bag of 2-inch propellers. This is most of the 2-inch propellers that have ever been made, all the way back to Furious FPV days. On the top of this bag, I do. Here's some tri-blades. I won't end up using those, but I will try them just for the sake of it. And here's some more tri-blades. And that should be about it. The rest of these are heavy-ass tri-blades, right? Yeah. Here's some 5 blades. Definitely won't be using those. Okay, no, I got them. I got the lightweight ones out. So our options are going to be GemFan 2009 Hurricanes. I've not had good luck with these. More of those. Why do I have so many of those? Oh, these are for 1mm motors. These are for 1.5. GemFan 2008 Biblade Hurricanes. I've also had bad luck with these. We've got HQ Ultralight 2x0.9s. I'm going to try these. And then Sub250 tri-blades from the other Sub250, the mint-colored Sub250 tri-blades. We're going to go with these HQ bi-blades. GemFan has the 2009 2-inch prop. Wait a second. I have another bag of 2-inch props back here, don't I? I do indeed. These are the ones that I use on Tiny Whoop frames. So we've got the GemFan 2009s? 2015. The GemFan 2015s. I don't want to use these yet, though, because I think these are going to be a little too heavy. I want to try to use these lighter weight props initially here. And then we've also got the HQ 2x1.5s. Let's try these 2x0.9s, though. Yeah, and then we've got these crazy quad blades. I'm going to leave these 2x1.5s out because I definitely want to try them with that extra pitch. The GemFan 2015s will definitely be the most durable propellers for this, but again, I just don't know if these motors are going to have enough jam for a propeller that's that heavy. Right, left, left, right. Perfect. I did not get many of these props. Let's see how their inner diameters are. Slides on there pretty easily. These might actually need to be tightened, not loosened. They definitely don't need to be loosened. Let's see how they fit. Oh, that one's a little bit tighter. Let's see how they fit on the motors. Yeah, not bad. Might actually be kind of perfect. We are going props in on this, so let's put this clockwise propeller on the correct motor. Oh, wow, no, they do not want to go on there. Woo! Okay, nope. I am going to open these up a little bit. Okay. And so we're going to go up and down. Let's go 3 times each. Three. 1, 2, 3. And Juan. A tahoo. Get in there. 3. Okay, that did not take much off. I don't know if maybe these motor shafts are a little bit bigger than most, but Jesus, I'm having to really push these on here. Yikes. Hold on. Okay, there we go. A little poof of plastic came out that time. Okay. And then... Okay. We are good now. Yeah, wow, these BetaFPV motor shafts are making me have to really push on these propellers. The problem with that is that the hub of these HQ props are fragile, and so if you hammer them onto a motor shaft, then that hub, you're putting all this outwards pressure on that hub, like encouraging it to explode, which they explode without that extra encouragement. So yeah, this is a little sketchy, but what's nice is the propellers do not hit anything, unlike the 2.5-inch props. They do come very close to this battery lead, but this battery lead will be held by the motor a little bit here. So we've got an itty bitty little rig that should fly. Let's find out. We need a transmitter, we need some goggles, and hopefully I won't hit Teddy with this one because he will not like that. Let's see. What's up? This has a Tiny Whoop tune on it. Let's get a quick weight. So, in a Tiny Whoop frame, with slightly lighter weight motors, this exact build is 38.5 grams with the battery. 38.5. In a carbon fiber frame, oh wow, 47.4. Ooh, I knew it was going to be heavier, but I didn't think it was going to be 10 grams heavier. It is on 2-inch props versus 1.6, but oh boy, that is a lot heavier, yo. What in the world? What in the Sam Hill? All right, let's see what happens. It flies. It's not oscillating to the moon yet. Let's see how impossible this is to fly in the basement. All right. Breaking the fresh rig in 3, 2, 1. We'll just relax. Let's just relax. Response time sucks. I kind of knew that was going to be the case. Whoa. Well, that's a good thing. Woo! It's pretty quiet. This camera doesn't look bad either. This Foxeer Razer looks okay. Let's see if I can get it up the stairs. Woo! I'm concentrating like a motherfucker. All right, we got a little room up here. Fortunately, the ceiling fan is gonna try to eat us. Okay, it's got a little bit of power. Not terrible. Ooh, God. Okay, it's got power. Ooh. Response time is better than I thought. I was being real light on it in the basement. Shit, this ain't terrible. I've never done one of these with 2-inch props. I've only ever done these on 1.2-inch, 1.4, 1.6, and 1.8. Oh, God! Oh! It is so slidey. Jesus. A little bit of prop wash there. That's not a great sign. Because that means the response time is lacking. This build probably has a pretty cranked up PID tune in it. But we'll do a little tuning when I can get this thing outside. Oh, that was fine on that one. Yeah, I can't like commit to any of these movements, so I'm just like trying not to die at this point. Oh my God, here we go. I only have one extra set of these props, so I'm trying not to fuck them up. Woo! Okay, we made it. Ooh, wow, it's rough on the yaw. Yeah, it is. Yeah, yaw. Ooh, yeah. Just like the 7-inch rig. On yaw, it's running out of motor braking. So yeah, these are small motors. These motors are, in my opinion, a little bit too small for this. They don't have enough. They don't have enough grunt to break the motors down in hard yaw stuff. My goggles are all fogged up because I'm concentrating so hard. Woo, boy. Look at this runtime. I might be able to run this on a 300 mAh battery. Oh, all right. We're gonna leave it there. Perfect amount of runtime. We got the weed number runtime. You fly the other 5 batteries, my friends. There you go. There's a full build. The tune from it and a whoop frame totally worked. I will get it a little bit more dialed in though. Let's see if that right front took a beating on that pole upstairs that I slammed it into. So we're going to just flip it into turtle mode, arm it, and just see. No. None of the props are banged up. Cool. Okay. I will fly this outside and immediately get frustrated constantly having to walk and go get it, and then put it into a 2S setup. In theory, though, this is a build for like taking downtown and flying around buildings and shit like that. And so you really shouldn't be crashing something that you're kind of doing that with. So yeah, just a different style build. I don't do that very often, so you know, I don't typically build those sorts of things. But maybe you guys do. Maybe you guys are not crashing very much, and a build like this is going to handle the wind a lot better. You know, it's going to be a lot less accurate. It's going to be a lot harder to shoot gaps with, but it'll be more efficient. It'll rip down the street a lot better. And yeah. So there's that. I'll be interested to see how it kind of throws. It's fairly a big propeller area when compared to a well, I guess not. It's not that much better. You got to picture these props spinning. Once they're spinning, they're gonna take up that whole kind of area. But yeah, this will be interesting. I can't remember flying a 2-inch setup like this. Just the smaller stuff, and so maybe this has enough extra power to be good. This Sub250 frame is very strong, very, very, very strong. Cool little frame. Everything fit in here, even though I did this wacky thing boosting the flight controller way up so that I could leave the motor plugs on it. Very cool. These frames are pretty inexpensive. You buy them from CNC Madness. And, you know, this is a 75 millimeter tiny whoop that I just smashed in here. So, you know, no reason to not spend $20-something on something like this if you're getting bored. And then just transfer one of your 75 millimeter rigs over. I'm most excited for 2S on this, though, to be completely honest with you. If I'm gonna have something that I can't crash, which is this, I want to have a ton of power so that I can hurtle it through the air. You know, low powered stuff is very fun for shooting tiny little gaps and whatnot. Something like this that you're not going to be able to shoot small gaps with, to me, you might as well make a whole bunch of power with it so that you can kind of rail. So yeah, there you go, friends. Sorry I got way behind on chat. It is way too late. I told Florence that we were gonna watch some TV at 9 o'clock, so I gotta roll. But I will see you guys on Sunday. I'll have some flight footage from this. I'll have some flight footage from the BetaFPV Meteor75 transplant into a 1.6 millimeter frame. And yeah, it might be lake footage. It might be very cool. John Fiddlesticks with the last comment of the live stream. He says, would it be stupid to buy goggles 3 right now off Marketplace with all the band stuff going on? I'm really not sold on Walk Snail. I don't personally think so, but I don't know, man. You know, we don't buy entire drones, right? We just buy pieces. And so in theory for us, we might be able to get DJI Air units shipped to us from Canada and around the world for a little bit of extra money. You know, coming through customs, how are they going to be able to police just a bunch of these little square boxes with cameras attached, right? Like an entire drone, sure. It looks like a drone. It comes through the X-ray. They see that it's a drone. They open it up, see that it's DJI. Nope, you got to go. For us doing the DIY stuff, we might be okay forever. We might not. You know, maybe DJI, I don't know. But yeah, the Walk Snail is rough. It's okay when you compare it to like the Vistas and stuff, but when you compare it to Goggles 3, DJI 03 or 04, it's a totally different kind of scenario. I'll see you guys Sunday. Here's some, I don't know what flight footage I'm going to play. Whatever's in front of me here. This is the Meteor75 O4 Pro at the RC Drift Car place. See you guys Sunday at 3 o'clock. Have an excellent Saturday. CiottiFPV.com if you like these live streams and you would like to see them continue. My Patreon continues to do one of these, so if you have an extra couple dollars, as long as you guys keep supporting me, I can keep doing this, but at some point I will have to get a 9 to 5 again, and that'll just demolish these live streams. But I'll still stream like at least probably once a week. I might be able to swing 2 a week, but yeah, support me if you can. CiottiFPV.com. Buy something off my Etsy store. Patreon's the best way you can support me. Let's keep hanging out. Love you. Bye!
Yeah. Out in the yard where the grass grows wild, CiottiFPV's goggles locked, grinning like a child. Teddy spaghetti's, fur flies, and jet wash dreams. Yeah. Chasing small whoops like a dog possessed fiend. Eyes on a neon blur, hard in the chase. Big fuzz and prop spin, all tangled in place. Yeah. Four-legged rebel with a rotor stir tail in the circus of the sky. They never fail. CiottiFPV, Teddy Spaghetti, dynamic duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, they zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile.
sticks, Teddy's on pause. Side by side, legends breaking all the laws. Through the kitchen, over couch, scale terrain. Backyard mayhem in their flight domain. No ground too sacred, no loop too tight. Fuzz, fuel, fury ignites the night. When pilot and pup lock eyes on the prize, every whoop they conquer is a fresh cut surprise. Yeah. Yo, Shotty behind the sticks, Teddy's leading the pack. Prop guard missiles unleashed, never looking back. No leash, no map, just freestyle mic. They on the dog drone streets every day and night. Said whoops, hitting low, gotta nail the dive, Teddy. Push throttle up, feel the beast come alive. I see the neon arc, got the sticks locked in, Teddy. Yeah, let's rip this loop, ride the roar of the wind, Teddy. Yep. Yeah, CiottiFPV, Teddy's spaghetti, diamond that duo king, sparking that the breeze, crawling that top speed thing, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Teddy's spaghetti. Barking at the breeze, falling at top speed thing, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, when you hear that bar cut the rotor hum, you know Ciotti and Teddy's mission's just begun. FPV's fur-faced legends, legends singing loud. Yeah, Teddy spaghetti and CiottiFPV always proud.